Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Senior Report is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
Thank you very much. He says that with such authority, doesn't he? Thank you, Chuck. You're terrific. Chuck Kelsey's the guy who started Channel 5 over here. Terrific guy. I want to say it's incredible the news we get on CNN. All the news is there's no news. Still, after a month. Ongoing, no news. Yeah, they show us pictures of the box and all kinds of nonsense, but nothing. But there was a ray of hope this morning, and this is on the 5th of April, 2014. I'm an old schooler. 19 was my time. They have located a ping anyway, and it sounds like it's the right kind of a ping, but we'll see what happens. Usually these things are false alarms, but we'll find out. But it goes on and on and on, the hunt for the plane 370 Malaysian plane, and the problem is they had announced kind of early that it's at the bottom of the sea, and it probably is, sadly. God bless those wonderful people that are suffering now because of the loss of their loved ones. Around the United States, of course, we got the craziness going on in Fort Hood, where another round of shootings has taken place. The guy said he'd had a bad brain injury, and he was looking for some kind of help, but they sort of dismissed him, and he came back and shot everybody in sight. He killed 3 people. God bless those people. And I think he put 16 in the hospital. Most of them are out now, but what a mess. What a horrible thing. You know, you go to your base, you're supposed to be safe, and you have... When you're out in the field, this guy had done two stints over in the Middle East. I think he was in Iraq, and apparently he was just off his rocker, which a lot of guys, unfortunately, have emotional problems after having fought in these horrible wars. But that's the way it is. Locally, nothing much in Chautauqua County, although I see a little ripple of activity over in Westfield, where the mayor is... apparently at war with the board, I guess, or some of the board. He's trying to fire Vince Luce, who's been there for 1,000,000 years through several mayors. He's survived a lot of mayors. But Vince Luce is a clerk, and he does a pretty good job over there, but it looks like the mayor doesn't get along with him. So he's firing him. And he made a deal with an electric company, which he had contact with and relations with, and his daughter-in-law and other people are involved with them, without apparently clearing it with the village board. And of course our electric bills in Westfield have gone literally astronomical. They're insane. I had a $300 electric bill last week. It was incredible. So Vince is fighting it out with, or not Vince, but I should say Vince, over Vince and the board and everybody, and the electric and so forth, and let's hope the mayor survives this. When you have internal warfare in a little town or village, this is a village of, I guess, 1,500 or something like that people, it's insane. And then the township has a bunch of people, it's up to 5,000 almost. although my grandfather used to claim it's not really, it's only 4,992. We lost 8 boys in the Civil War. We never made them up. Any rate, that's the only news I see around locally that's of a great impact. Congratulations to the kids who are on the honor roll and so forth and so on. The police are pulling people over for drinking and speeding and things like that still, but that's not real news. So I'm going to drop the news. They tell me I've really already done a number on that stuff. So let's go to the local news. We have some great senior groups here, and I just want to take a hats off attitude toward a couple of them. Some of them are really just terrific. I'll tell you something. I can't believe how much work these guys do and how much credit they give to our communities in Chautauqua County. The Sinclairville seniors, incidentally, they're having an annual fun auction, but these guys are very busy. You know, they deliver meals on wheels, and they're busy. The auctioneer for their annual fun auction is going to be the famous Elaine Palmer-Titus, who's a well-known auctioneer in the county, of course. So it says. They say, join up for you. All the groups are looking for new members. We lose a lot of them. They become snowbirds, and they go to Florida and they stay there. It's too much trouble coming back and forth. Although they've got to stay inside during most of the summer because of the bugs, the flies and mosquitoes. Stockton, Casadega, and Lilydale up in the beautiful hills of our Chautauqua County. Just a quick note or two here. They meet regularly with June Willett in charge. She's the president, and calls it she does a job over there. They, as always, they just do great things. Janice Carlson celebrated a March birthday. Happy birthday, Janice, over there at the Stockton, Casadega, Lilydale crowd, and happy anniversary to, let me put the cheaters on here. I'm having trouble seeing my writing. Pastor Dick and Mickey Hamilton. Irene Christopher over at the Lakeshore crowd does the job. She's been working hard for years over there. And incidentally, she's really into breast cancer. I mean, she doesn't have it, but she's very strong on support groups for ladies with breast and men. Some rare cases, but some men actually get breast cancer, believe it or not. I just want to say, if you're interested in getting involved in a real good group, the Stockton, Casadega, Lilydale crowd, drop over, meet Charlene Hallmark doing the kitchen, and Christopher and Barbarich will be doing it April 16th. Doesn't say what time, but probably in around noon. Dunkirk Board of Directors for the Dunkirk Senior Citizens is led by Barbara Badges, and she says the next potluck dinner over there, if you want to have some fun, is scheduled for Wednesday, April 30 at 5 p.m. Make your reservations, please. They have a membership of over 430 people there. This is the size of our groups. They don't all come to the meetings, but they have some pretty good size. Brockton Portland Seniors, a quick note for them. President is Margaret Jagoda, and they say the June committee for the, the coffee and everything, was Pat and Elaine Smith and Elaine Wood, and they had a big Easter basket full of goodies and stuff, and soups and desserts. That's the way you do it, guys. I want to say Kate Cranston sent cards to Rudy Arnatti and Zangi, Betty Kaczynski, Elaine Wood, Butch McDonald, Mary Trippey, Ruth Patterson, all ailing a little bit. Now, from every senior group, you're going to get a certain number of people ailing. I usually read them all, but these guys had a crowd out. And this has been a rough winter. You can tell from my husky voice. I have a cold still, a deep cold. Makes me cough and disrupts my voice. I don't sound like I'm Reed Powers. I don't recognize myself. The Brockton crowd, incidentally, Brockton, Portland crowd. Brockton is in the town of Portland, I might add. They're going to a trip on the August Bell So get involved. They're going on an Amish trip April 29th. They go over and have a dinner and get involved and find out how the Amish live, which is great. They have a very simple, beautiful life. And we have the Amish all over our area, in the Mayville-Westfield area, up in the hills. American Legion Auxiliary, as a side note here, is holding a ribbon chicken barbecue April 27th. And the AARP drivers training is coming up. Get in touch with Brockton Portland seniors. It's a great deal. You spend a couple of afternoons having coffee and watching a film or two and talking about drivers training for seniors, which is different from juniors. Seniors, for instance, don't back up any more than you have to. Stop immediately when you're backed up enough. And don't turn left if you can avoid it. Go around the block. And always carry a pantyhose in your trunk. And if your wife finds it, tell her it's nothing nefarious. It's just you use it. It makes a great, a wonderful a pulley attachment if you need it, you know. A fan belt, as they call it, although it might be in any part of your car. But you take that, take a leg and you just tie it all up real tight on the pulleys, and it'll get you to the next gas station. If you're interested in all these wonderful trips, the Amish trips especially, call Mary at 792-9748 and have fun with the Brockton Portland crowd. Sheridan Happy Seniors. Roll call was called by Gertie Seiper. She's very involved there, and I just want to mention her name. Minutes of the last meeting were read by Joan Woohurst. Angie Logan did the treasury report. They seem to have enough money to get along. Like all senior crowds, they don't overspend. And they had an article, which is kind of interesting. One of their members, Dolores Twiller, is in Texas visiting her daughter. While she was there, she went up in a plane and jumped. Yeah, out in a parachute at 10,000 feet, and in 55 seconds at 120 miles an hour, sometimes upside down. Then she had dinner with the family. She landed okay. A note from the great builders, next potluck luncheon, get over there if you want to get involved with them, bring a dish to pass your silverware, April 26th, 11:30 a.m. They meet in over in Brockton, and or Fredonia, I guess it's Fredonia, at the Mason Hall. Wonderful crowd. Going to the Allegheny Casino, of course. Everybody goes there all the time. They go down to basically connect with the Indians. Good morning. Our guest just arrived, Marianne Spanos, who happens to be my only Greek guest we've ever had here, and it's just wonderful. I'm sure I haven't told her that. I'll have to mention it at some point here. All right, enough said. They said, Reed, you're off that. You're just wandering and wandering all over the place. You're finished with the news. That's the basic news. And may the Westfield board settle down with the mayor. And I, Vince Luce, I got a guy. He shoots from the hip. This is John Hamels, better known as Doc Hamels, because he has some sort of a odd doctorate from somewhere. What's that? We have a PSA. Would you mind, John, if we ran that?
No, you go right ahead.
Yeah, okay.
You can upstage me.
Yeah, well, time's running out here. I didn't even have time for the PSA. I was just looking at our beautiful guest here. All right, PSA, here's for you, guys.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
And move over. When you see lights,
vests,
Or reflectors.
please give us some room. Slow down and move over.
when you need us.
We've got your back.
Do you have ours?
You got our back?
You got ours? You got our back? Please, slow down.
And move over.
I want to thank Randy Bird, who got my back, and everybody else around here. My back, at my age of almost 75, my back is quite exposed, we'll put it that way. Here we got John on. You're on, John.
Oh, that was a great PSA I just saw there.
Yeah.
This time of year, everybody's doing the road construction with all those potholes and that, so there's going to be a lot of people out there on the road. Well, good morning, Mary Ann. Welcome back again. Good morning, everybody out there in TV land. Just a quick announcement before I get into what I want to talk about. 2 weeks from today, the Children's Safety Education Village will pop that poster up here for y'all. Great program. If you haven't been there, take your kids, your grandkids. Last I knew, over 10,000 children have gone through this program, Reed. And
How many?
Over 10,000.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
I didn't know we had that many kids in Chautauqua County.
You know, year after year, it adds up.
Yeah.
Know. But, yeah, there's quite a few kids in the area. And they come in from Pennsylvania, you know, Cattaraugus County, Buffalo area, and so forth. So anyways, so that's coming up the 19th, and it's a couple bucks, thank you, and it's carnival. Years ago, I helped out when they had Easter egg hunt. If you want an easy way to commit suicide, be the keeper of the gate when you have 3,000 people waiting with their kids to go find eggs, and the big prize was a bicycle. I was the guy at the gate, and I actually got a little bit of an anxiety attack because these people all were bunched out. I thought someone was going to get hurt. Well, anyways,
like
they don't do that anymore. It's more of a kind of like go around from building to building. The kids collect candy and
So
eggs.
it's like the opening sale day at
like Black
Walmart.
Friday.
And Walmart stopped that too. They let them in a little at a time now.
Yeah. So, anyways, they learned a valuable lesson years ago, and now it's a lot of fun. It's safe, and it's always for the kids and to have a great time. So, if you're not busy that day, take the kids the day before Easter. The Children's Safety Education Village, Route 394. Look for the ads on that. Okay. Hey, I don't know about you, Reed, but last night I was sitting in bed and I jumped right up. The dog jumped right up. Barb says, "What are you doing?" That wind must have come in like a burst. It hit the house. I live up on the escarpment in Ripley, and I thought it was a tornado. That's how hard it hit. It had to be a 50, 60 mile an hour gust of wind.
Yeah, they predicted that. They said, you guys are going to get some winds, baby.
Yeah, so
we did. I got them over my house in Westfield.
Folks, if you're out there today, it's still pretty windy, so hang on to everything and go collect your garbage cans and the newspaper. I had a doctor up my paper box. I had to put like this duct tape around the front of it and make like a little catch there because half the time my Post Journal would end up in Sherman. So anyways, hey Reed, last week we had a fellow here, I don't remember, Walt Settlemeyer?
Yeah, Settlemeyer.
From the County Genealogical Society. That's hard to say fast.
Yeah.
And he was talking to us about family research and that. And so I decided I was going to have a little fun today.
All right.
Okay, so Reed Powers, this is your ancestor. Are you ready?
I know who he is.
All right, well, we're going to go back to 1890.
I can tell you who it would be.
All right, so let's have a picture of him there, Jeff. There he is.
No, that's not my ancestor. That happens to be a professional killer.
This is Bill Power, who was in 1892, met his fate.
Yep.
You were telling the story about this, so I did some research.
He was a bank robber.
Yeah, part of the Dalton gang.
And he's one of the guys who got away, but he fell off his horse.
All true.
With a gunshot wound right at the cemetery, believe it or not.
I got proof of it. Bring up the next one. Watch this. There it is.
Yep.
They buried him right there in Texas.
They forgot his S, incidentally, which is very common.
They said that he either went with Power or Powers, and he also had another name. Do you know what the third name was?
I don't know, Wild Bill?
No, Tim Evans.
Yeah.
Is Evans a family name by any chance?
No, nothing to do with the family. That was obviously a alias.
Alias of some sort. Well, anyways, I just had some fun with that because we were talking about family research.
Yeah.
And just a segue to all that is just that there's lots of opportunity, folks, if you want to study your family. And it kind of goes in what Mary Ann talks about here with seniors and so forth. As we go into retirement and so forth, we should be recording our own health issues for our children. My dad and I just did this the other day. We updated his health records. He's 91 years old, and we put in a couple little things. But to realize that there's a family history, for instance, of heart conditions or diabetes or some other kind. Randy's pointing to baldness. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that as a health condition, but yeah, I suppose. But anyways, but having a family history of all the things that make us a family can be very helpful to our children and our grandchildren down the road. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed that little walk down memory lane there. But we all have desperados in our families, and but this guy, he was quite a character, I guess. So anyways, enjoy the show, folks, and hang on to your hats. Back to you, Reed.
I'll tell you a little more about Billy Powers. My name is William Powers, too, actually. He came from my great-great-grandfather's family, a great-great-great-grandfather's family over in Panama. And at the time, the Powerses were very close to the Schofields. And the Schofields, Mrs. Schofield had a bunch of kids. She was like Peter Pumpkin Eater's wife, you know. And Mrs. Powers, sadly, was barren, could have no children. And they got together and they socialized. Eventually, they wound up marrying each other. They crossed, Mr. Powers married Mrs. Schofield, and vice versa. They also did it all legally, got divorced and everything. But there was a lot of, I know, the people in the communities, and back in the 1800s, they were kind of snooty about this sort of thing. And they did not like the idea. And so they decided one of them would leave, and it was the Powerses who left. They wound up out in Kansas.
Right.
Billy started riding with the Daltons. Right. He was a naughty boy.
Yep.
And they decided, Dalton decided he said, we got all this dough plowed in the ground everywhere. They had buried all kinds of gold. They were very good bank robbers and train robbers. They had tons of gold and coin and everything. He said, look, let's retire and get out of here. The Pinkertons are after us. And the Pinkertons usually killed them. They didn't even fool around.
No fooling around.
They cut their head off and brought that in. That's all they needed.
That's right.
Not really, but the Indians did. So at any rate, so they go in this little town, and there's a movie about this, very famous movie, incidentally, and they hit two banks at once. He says, Billy, we're going to try, we just want to do two banks at once. Let's set history.
Twofer.
So they split up, and the town recognized one of them and said, hey, those are the Daltons. Just went to the bank. They didn't know they were in the other bank, too. And they all ran across the street. There was a hardware store there. Back then, the hardware store had racks and racks of guns and tons of ammunition. So they all loaded up, all the men in the town, and waited. And out they came. They shot them all up. And they, incidentally, the gang leader saw his little brother lying on the street. And so Dalton turns and runs back. He'd gone away. He was on his horse. He turned around, came back, and they shot him all up before he could help his brother, who promptly died. Billy Powers managed to make it out of town. He rode out,
right,
and he fell off his horse. He was fatally wounded and fell off his horse and died right at the cemetery. They didn't have to move him far.
Saved the mortician moving charges.
Right, and so then they propped them all up.
Oh yeah,
next to the
pictures.
Bank. And they took pictures of them.
Yeah, I just saw them on the internet.
Well, thousands of tourists came in. They said they had sold. They were charging 10 cents a piece. Back then, that was $1, you know. A lot of bucks, maybe $2 or $3. And they said they had 10,000 people come in and take pictures.
Sure. Well, they were famous. But anyways, I just thought you might enjoy a little...
Yeah, that's Billy Powers. And as usual, crime does not pay eventually. It might pay temporarily, but then you're going to wind up in the cemetery.
All right.
Or in the jug and for life, and then in the cemetery.
Okay.
Thanks for that little
You
note.
bet. Take care.
On the family history. We did have a governor, incidentally. And we didn't come over the Mayflower, but we did come over 1638, according to my brother, who is our family archivist. And we live in Westfield. Marianne, welcome to Senior Report, Marianne.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Reed.
Well, it's always nice to have you here, especially since you are the only Greek guest I've ever had, you know, and it's fantastic.
Remember, I only married a Greek. I'm Polish and Italian.
Well, you always say that, of course, but we have a lot to talk about. She is the director of the Office for Aging, which is an organization which takes care of seniors on the local level, the state level, and even the national level. Mm-hmm. And everybody's cutting their funding, the state, the nation, and even locally. She's been cut back.
Well,
but you've done pretty well considering everything, and you manage to get a lot of money when you do spend money.
Well, actually, we have not been cut back this year, and I
good.
really need to reach out to the seniors in our community and thank them, because this past month and a half, I have been asking seniors who get our programs to write letters to the governor and to our legislators, Kathy Young and Andrew Goodell. And we were just flooded. I think we had about over 400 letters that came in, and guess what? It worked. We got an additional $5 million in our state budget. And our state budget has been stagnant for years and years and years. And what really made the difference is those letters from seniors. And we left a little spot on the letters, and not just to say we support, the increase in funding, but for them to tell a little story about the services that they get and what it means to them. And many seniors did that, and I really think that that made the difference. It's very hard for some to understand where senior programs come in. If people are very poor and are eligible for Medicaid, or if they are or if they're a veteran and they're eligible for veteran services, then we send them to those services and we help them get those services.
What services are these?
Well, it could be home care. There's many different things. But the Office for the Aging uses our funding, basically, especially our home care funding, for those who are not eligible for other things. So we have to screen people and make sure that they're not eligible, and we actually then assist them if they are eligible, because those are open-ended funds. Ours are very limited, and they're meant to help people who can't get help somewhere else. So at least for our home care, like when we send in an aide to do personal care or to help with heavy housekeeping, or we put one of those personal emergency response, we help people pay for that. Because there are many of our seniors are living on a really tight budget and they can't afford these services on their own. So they help to pay for them. We have a sliding scale, and so if you're very low income, we'll ask you for a donation for the services. If you're higher income, you pay a percentage depending on your income. And most of our seniors, they pay anywhere between 5 to 30% of the cost. So what that means is, say home care costs $20 an hour and it's very hard for you to afford that. If you come through Office for the Aging and you're a 30% cost share or a 10% cost share, you pay $2, 10%, we pay $18. And that way we can provide this service and stretch our funding to many more people.
Sounds like you're doing it on a very fair basis. Now, of course, even though you haven't been necessarily cut back locally, there have been some cuts. The seniors, many of our seniors, because of the fact that Congress has not given us a fair Social Security increase for the inflation, they've got set up inflation, but they don't give them the COLA. This year, for instance, I think they got 1.5% or something like that. The actual inflation, according to the pundits, is pretty close to 4.5%. So again, they've lost money, and they say that seniors are now getting they're getting about 45% of what they used to get out of their Social Security in terms of purchasing power. In other words, the full shopping basket card is now over half empty because of this change and lack of the true COLA, which should be addressed. And one of the interesting things that Obama just signed last week was a new regulation of food stamps. Seniors, a lot of seniors now, sadly, are forced onto food stamps, and not because they want to, and some of them don't even take them, they're too proud to, but the food stamps were cut back 10%. Now you're supposed to eat 10% less food, seniors. Not that matters, because apparently the Congress doesn't care.
Well, as I said to the seniors who say that to me, and it's important, though, that you make your voice known. And Office for the Aging can give you that opportunity if you send the letters to us. In fact, I think not only we've been successful on the state level, it's a little more difficult on the federal level, on the congressional level, But we also asked seniors at our picnic last year to call Congress because they hadn't reauthorized the Older Americans Act. Not to mention, Social Security has been stagnant, and Medicare copays have gone up. But there are so many things that, when Congress, is trying to decide what to fund and what not to fund, they are depending on, they're counting on the fact that seniors are accessing food stamps and all these other services that they're eligible for, and they're not. And it's really important. Your taxes pay. This is not welfare. Food stamps is not welfare, and it's paid for by your taxes. So you need to access these things. You need to come into Office for the Aging if you have high health care bills, because now there's so many choices for health care, and we can help you narrow the field and get you into a plan that may save you a lot of money.
And you don't channel them into certain plans either.
No.
If you go to certain advisors, they will consider your inquiries as a invitation to give you some little advertising for their own company.
Well, that's it. If you, what I tell people is, if you go to Independent Health or Community Blue or Univera, and they're not obligated to tell you about the other plans. They will just tell you about their plans. And so Office for the Aging is really the only place that you can go for Medicare for unbiased information and a comparison across plans. So we will tell you, what's the difference between traditional Medicare and buying a supplement, what that would cost you, as opposed to going into Independent Health's plan or one of the other senior plans offered by Blue Cross Blue Shield and Univera. So really take advantage of this. Unfortunately, right now, most people who are in a plan are stuck until open enrollment in the fall. But
it's in December, right, isn't
It
it?
actually starts in October.
October through December.
October through the middle of December now. And we're going to be doing a big supplement in the paper, because every year the plans are allowed to change a little bit their offerings. And so it makes sense to come in, we call it for your health care checkup. Your health insurance checkup every year, check with our counselors, who, by the way, are certified by the state of New York to provide this service.
Yes, this is particularly for your Medigap insurance.
Exactly.
A lot of people have insurance because Medicare does not cover a lot of stuff, and the Medigap picks up the difference. Some Medicaps, though, don't cover the drug you need. And
that's why it's so important to come to Office for the Aging. Everybody's situation is so different, and people are also trying to decide, is it more economical for me to stay on my employer's plan? Some people have that option to stay on their retirement or employer's plan for a long period of time. How do you know that that is the most cost effective for you? And what's the apples to apples comparison? So it's really so individual. We recommend that people come and see us a few months before they turn 65, so that we can tell them about the process of signing up for Medicare, and then to come back and check with us on a yearly basis if they want to switch plans, if they're paying too much out of pocket.
Yeah, I did switch myself. I had the employees plan, but it was $100 a month. Even so, I had to contribute to it. And many of the Medigaps are actually down to free, although again, they'll pick it up one way or another when they give you but most of them have a co-charge. It's pretty small, so it's not a big deal. And everybody should have, in my opinion, the Medigap insurance, whatever you get. I mean, you get one for free. You don't have to pay anything for it. Not for free, but you don't pay anything toward it. And you do have insurance. And I said Medicare does have some big lapses in it. For instance, 20% of your doctor's bills and your hospital bills you pay. And you can run up $100,000 before you turn around.
Well, I do need to also tell people about what we call Medicare Savings Plan, because there is a program for people who are having, you know that if you're on traditional Medicare, you pay about $109 a month for your Part B of the Medicare. And
Part B is the, what is that?
That covers Part A only covers hospitalization.
Right.
Part B really covers everything else, the
And then
doctors.
yeah.
And so Part A you get automatically when you turn 65. Part B you have to pay a premium for. And that's part of the complaints of seniors is that premium keeps going up while Social Security has not gone up, and that makes it difficult for them. But there is a program, government-funded program. If you're having trouble paying that Part B premium, you may be eligible for what they call Medicare Savings Plan. And this is where the government, if you're low enough income, will actually pay that premium for you. And we found there's many seniors in our county who are not signed up for that.
And they're eligible.
And they're eligible, and you can apply for that at any time. So if you have not signed up for, if you're paying that $109 and want to know more about Medicare Savings Plan, I encourage you to call our New York Connects helpline. They'll tell you more about the program, what the income guidelines are, and they'll send you an application in the mail if they think that it looks like you could benefit from that. So really important.
A lot of people, Marianne, are unaware of this little charge, the 109 or whatever it turns out to be. Because it's just taken directly out of Social Security.
Exactly.
They don't bill you for it. It's just there. It's gone. Your Social Security died off a little bit.
So, but this could save you, $109. That's $1,200 over the course of a year. So it's really can be a significant savings to you. So we encourage everybody to do that. And I started to tell you that the seniors also wrote letters to Congress after our picnic, and we had several meetings, both myself and the other Office for the Aging directors across the Southern Tier with Congressman Reed, and he actually helped to introduce the Older Americans Act reauthorization bill into Congress. And that's a really big win. This is the main funding that established the Office for the Aging and gives us our funding to serve seniors from the federal level. And it was supposed to be reauthorized every 5 years, and it was supposed to be, the last time it was supposed to be reauthorized was several years ago. So it's very concerning when it doesn't get reauthorized in Congress.
Okay,
and,
we have a phone call.
Sure.
Hey, caller, you're on.
I was wondering, my grandmother received a postcard in the mail a couple weeks ago saying that she won a free Walmart gift card or something.
Oh.
And I was just wondering, are there scams like this going around? I mean, I assume it's a scam.
Yeah, without looking at it, it's hard to tell whether that was a scam. There are a lot of scams going around with seniors. Some of them are claiming to be Social Security or Medicaid or different government agencies, and I've heard them calling on the phone. Social Security will not do that. But if you're ever concerned, you get something in the mail or you get a phone call that you're unsure of, don't give out any information and call our office, and we're happy to track down whether it's a scam or not. I've had a lot of seniors get things in the mail, and it's a solicitation for money. It's kind of on the cusp of a scam, but it's not really. They're asking, different advocacy agencies are saying, you need to donate to us and we'll go out and lobby the government not to cut your Social Security. And so it's hard to tell just from that little bit of information, but remember, we're your resource. Call our helpline, stop into our office and show us what you've gotten in the mail. We're happy to look it over and find out, whether it's legitimate.
I saved Marianne a lot of trouble because I don't call her. When I get somebody who wants me to donate or to sign up for something, I simply say, I'm sorry, I do not buy, nor do I sell, nor do I give anything over the telephone, and I hang up, and that's it. You unfortunately save them time because then they go right on the next person or the computer will. Sometimes the computer does this for them. They just dial until somebody answers. And it's becoming, the way to beat them is to keep them on the phone for an hour. and just, act kind of dumb and have them repeat everything, and that's how you beat them. You take their time away from them. But in the meantime...
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Grandmother, she also has a Facebook account. She's kind of found the internet, and she plays a lot of games and other stuff. How do I make sure that she's not clicking on links and stuff like that? I mean, is there something that you can do to make sure that an older person who's not that aware of the internet is not going where they should be, like clicking on an ad or something because they think maybe it's a good deal or something?
The short answer to that is there's no way to be sure. They're going to throw this stuff up on your screen, and you're going to click on it, and then you're going to click right out of it.
Well, I haven't looked at this too much, but there are ways to block certain sites. I'm not sure from a personal
there's a pop-up blocker.
You can block
Popper blocker.
Pop-up blockers might help, and other security programs. I know there are some parental controls. My kids are out of the house, so I haven't instituted those, but I'm not as savvy with the new technology as I probably should be. But in our county website, of course, we have a lot of security. But make sure that you have.
Is there a program that the Office for the Aging does that maybe could point out some of these, or?
Well, we have computer training programs, which is a basic training for computers, telling people how to do that. It's not going to totally tell you what's legitimate on the internet and what's not, but it'll give your senior the basics to help them navigate the internet, help them to navigate email and setting that up.
So like for my other grandmother who doesn't know how to use a computer, that would be a good idea for her.
Yes, and it's going on at several sites, the Westfield Library, there's a place in Dunkirk, and our offices in Jamestown. So we have at least 3 or 4 sites in the county that seniors can go and work directly with a coach, a computer coach, to learn how to do those things. So it's a great first course for people who are really, really unfamiliar with computers and the internet.
Thank you very much, caller.
And last final thing, do you suggest that kids contact the Office for the Aging and find out more information about helping their parents and stuff as they age?
Well, definitely, we are a resource for caregivers, and the problem is a lot of kids don't look at themselves as a caregiver, because it kind of happens a little bit over time till you're doing a lot for mom and dad, and especially caregivers who are struggling. They're trying to juggle work and, their parents' needs, and so it can become very onerous, and not that they don't want to do it, but they're stressed out, and they don't realize how much services are available for their aging parent. And there's also support groups and things for them. I just got a call this week about a caregiver who's really stressed out taking care of a senior who's pretty much bedbound and wants some help finding some respite care so she can take a couple-week vacation that's really needed. So we talked about, working with a couple of the local nursing homes to get that respite care, but also after she returns, maybe accessing some home care services through the Office for the Aging, so she has some ongoing time to get out of the house. That's so important.
And check your church and your neighbors and your friends too. There are a lot of people out there who give you a hand. I have first-hand information about this. Incidentally, I wanted to call or mention, I'm one of the luckiest people on earth. I win some sort of a lottery or whatever, or a gift or something in a will every week of $1 million, $10 million, $20 million. I've actually won over $1 billion now, and unfortunately I don't seem to collect any of this money though. So be careful if somebody sends you a note that you have won $20 million in the national lottery in Ireland because they put your name in. Because that's probably not going to give you much help. What they're really interested in is your bank information, so they can strip all your money away. Yeah. Be careful about that, right, Marianne?
Yes, and we have had some really terrible bank scams going on. One of them international that the FBI contacted us about. So really, you know, they'll tell you that your loved one is stuck in a foreign country and they need so much cash, wire it immediately. This is a scam. And we need to report these to the Attorney General's office, but really don't give out any Social Security or your bank information to people. And come into the Office for the Aging. Either ourselves or the Sheriff's Department will help you determine, you know, it's a scam, and we want to know about it so we can warn other seniors.
Yeah, you can recognize this pretty fast. I got one not too long ago. One of my friends, who I knew very well, he was a bridge partner, was trapped in Italy. He'd gone over there for health reasons. He didn't tell anybody, but he was over there. And he'd been mugged, and they took his wallet, and he didn't have a penny. Would I send him $1,500 right away? So I called his wife and said, you know, I just got that horrible message from John, and I sent him $1,500 immediately. I don't even expect him to pay it back, but I hope he's okay now. She almost passed out.
Yeah, it's a scam. It's a scam. So be leery of those things and don't do it. Hey, I do want to talk about some good news before we run out of time.
Oh, well, we don't do good news on the senior report. Only bad news. We got a phone call waiting too. But
okay, well, quickly, the United Senior Council is going to be having a celebration for Older Americans Month, which is May, and they're hosting a trivia event, and it's been a lot of fun. I think this is the 3rd annual trivia event, and it's trivia from the first half of the century, so I had a hard time with these trivia questions, but the seniors had a lot of fun, and it'll be held May 8th at the North Harmony Senior Center. There's no cost to attend, but if you want to put a team together, up to 3 people, it's a $5 entry fee, and you could win, you know, a cash prize. I think the cash prizes were like $50, $100, and $150. So,
when and where again?
So it's May 8th. I think it starts at 1 o'clock at the North Harmony Senior Center. So that's in Stowe. It's right off of 394 in Stowe. And it's so much fun. And at that event, the Office for the Aging does our annual awards. We resurrected a couple awards, memorial awards. One is called the Susan Yeager Memorial Award, and Elias Laughlin, who had great connections, both of them, to our office. And so we're looking for nominations for those awards, and we'll be giving them out at this Trivia Day event. So.
Okay, I'm going to nominate myself.
Okay.
That's what you do, you know that?
You can do that.
Not really. Mary Ann Spanos, Director of the Office for the Aging, chatting away with us. We have a caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Just a quick question for Dr. Spanos. Could you update us on the status of the county home now that it's been sold? There has been little or nothing in the newspaper. Thank you.
I don't know how much more I have to tell you. It's, you know, it's been sold, but that process of selling the home is going to take many months. I don't really know an estimate. Probably, I think it'll be the latter part of the year into next year before they settle it. But, you know, the county executive is hard at work making sure that all the people who work at the county home will continue to have a job there, or opportunities in other places in the county for them. So, you know, he's very committed to making sure that jobs are not lost. And that the seniors are getting quality care. He was very careful about vetting this potential buyer and going to look at other counties where they've bought homes to make sure that they were a quality organization. So the only thing I need to also tell people about is that, you know, there are things in place to make sure that people in all our nursing homes are being well taken care of. The Department of Health audits all the nursing homes on a regular basis, and this sale of the county home could not go through unless it was approved by the New York State Department of Health. In addition, we have the Ombudsman program at all of our nursing homes.
What's
and
that?
It's an advocate for the people living there. And Ray Cheney, who's from Mayville, is our fabulous ombudsman at the county home. He has encouraged, you know, seniors and put together informational sessions for the people living at the county home, and making sure that no one is going to lose their place at the county home.
Okay.
So if you ever have a problem with the nursing home, Ray Cheney, or your ombudsman is the person to go to, and they don't expose you, they advocate on your behalf.
Yeah, go crab to them and they'll go right out there.
They'll
and
be
read
the
rules.
middlemen, and they'll
We got a
get
couple
things
more
done
calls
for you.
here. You want to take
Sure.
another call? Okay, another caller. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Linda Spalding.
Oh,
It's
hi,
great
Linda
to see-
Spalding.
Oh, good morning. It's great to see you on the show this morning, Mary Ann.
Thank you, Linda. And nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
Did you meet her before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Linda works in our office with the Senior Aid Program, and she's also the one who oversees that wonderful computer training that we have going on. In how many locations, Linda?
Well, right now we have 3 in Chautauqua County. That's in at the Westfield Library, Patterson, at the Dunkirk Free Library, and the Jamestown Office for the Aging, and we're working on 2 other sites.
Great.
One will be in the Brockton area, and we hope one will be near Gowanda. So we're working on different sites. We also have one at the Olean One Stop at Bluebird Square.
There you go. And Patterson, incidentally, the Patterson Library, his daughter gave the money for that library. It's a beautiful building. If you ever been in Westfield, it's
I have been in it.
It's built like a
It is
Greek
beautiful.
temple. It's beautiful.
It is.
And it even has a little amphitheater out back with stone seats where you can sit and watch a show. And that Patterson was the lieutenant governor of New York for a while. How about that? I hear a dog.
Oh, I know it. They're competitive. They're arguing over their treats. They just came in from their morning walk.
Okay, I thought they wanted to be on the air, you know.
Well, they do want to be on the air. They do. That's another thing that's bothering them.
Well, you still got to teach them to play the piano, Linda.
Oh, I know it. But, they love music, but they just can't play the piano like Squirty did.
Yeah, Squirty was a wonder. Yeah, what a dog. He could jump right up there and play the piano. And Doug Spalding, her husband, who was a terrific guy, he was he was literally totally honored all over the county for his teaching ability. He taught every kid in the county just about, and he had he had those dogs trained to a T.
Reed, did he teach you?
He taught me a lot. Yes, he
No,
did.
but I mean at school. That was a little joke.
Oh, not in school, but he taught me that I probably too have a bush in my ancestry somewhere.
So, we've trained over 1,000 people with our computer training, and it is free. It's for seniors. There are no qualifications, just an interest in it, and to be, in the mature population, entry level, one-on-one, on the computer with a peer coach there all the time to guide and direct. And then people go for more advanced training. So it has been a wonderful
You've taught
adventure.
hundreds of people, and I got a complaint from the post office. They said you're putting them out of business. People used to send letters and buy stamps, and they're not doing that anymore because of all your training. Everybody is just sending email now.
Well, I still go to the post office. I'd love to get things in the mail.
I went down there recently, and I bought 2 or 3 stamps, which are for this year.
I buy the collector stamps. I just love to use those.
Yeah.
Well, so many people are becoming computerized in government more and more, and so it's really important that the seniors learn that skill, because like Social Security is not going to be issuing letters about your income as often. I think they've relented a little bit, but you're not going to be able to go to your Social Security office starting this fall anymore for those things. You either have to go online to request it, or call an 800 number and request those letters and forms from the Social Security office. I think at first they were thinking to go completely computerized, and then they realized that many of the seniors are not computer savvy, so they did set up a phone line to help seniors get the documents they need, but you're not going to be able to get it by sitting in your local office
And of
anymore.
course, you can buy things, anything, The computer purchases have skyrocketed. I mean, you go in there, you say you need a Weevil Squeevel. Now, who ever heard of one of those? But I'll bet you never did.
No.
But you can get it, you wire it, you bring it up on your computer, and you'll find 5 different sites that sell it. You can get the right price and so forth, and you punch it in and put in your credit card, and bingo, comes 2 days later. I had something come the next day.
Well, it is a handy tool, but as
Yeah.
I said, so many companies are becoming totally computerized that you can't, just go to them, stop in and get what you need. We're moving more and more, and that's happening with government agencies. So, they're encouraging everybody to do it online because they're trying to cut back on their staff.
Well, this
to save money.
This
And
is definitely a new world. It's a computer world.
It can be very difficult for seniors who are used to being able to talk to a live person, and that's why Office for the Aging continues to have our helpline. You talk to a live person. We don't have a recording. We might have an answering machine if she's busy, but we don't have this, long message, press 1 for this person, press 2. By the time they get the end of what they said, you forgot which one you're supposed to press. And I do that too. But it's really important for seniors to be able to talk to a live person, and that's why we have Nancy Papalea and Jerry Osborne and now Bridget Paoletta answering our New York Connects helpline, a live person who can talk to you and guide you through the things that are available in our county to help you. So don't hesitate to call us if you're looking for something.
Also, I'd like to interject, too, that with our computer training, our peer coaches are showing people how to go online and get their social security information and their benefit letter. So we're doing that now.
That's terrific because we've been talking about it in our office that that's something that seniors really rely on the local office for, and it's not going to be available through the local office.
We're showing them. And also, if there's a lot of companies that want applicants to go online to fill out job applications, so that's another thing we're helping them with.
And everything else, food stamps, government stuff, Social Security, everything. You've got to have ladies and gentlemen, get a computer. If you don't have one, have your kids get you one. Learn how to use it. You don't have to learn much. It's a very simple thing. I can teach you how to use your computer for anything you need effectively in about 25 minutes. So there you go. Your email and just sites. That's it.
Yeah, and the other thing we've talked about, in this society where our family is spread out all over the country and sometimes all over the world, the computer is just such an amazing thing to stay connected. If you don't know what Skype is or Vonage or these computer programs, they're computer telephones that actually allow you to see the person as you're talking to them. You can watch your grandchildren romping around on the floor, or when my sons were in Japan, I was able to talk to them and see them, and it really brings our world closer.
You know what I just heard?
Have a great weekend.
We're out of here.
I know.
Goodbye. Thank you, Linda. I want to thank the special people. Well, I want to give you at least 30 seconds. Wrap it up.
Well, thank you again to all the seniors for putting out those letters, both to our state legislators and Congress. Don't forget that Older Americans Month is coming up, and we would love to see you at the United Senior Council Trivia event on May 8th.
Where?
At the North Harmony Senior Center in Stowe.
And what time?
It's at 1 o'clock, but I think the doors will open at noon. You can pre-register or register at the door if you want to join in the fun of the actual trivia
Or just call
event.
you. What's your phone number?
It's 753-4582 is our New York Connects helpline, or 753-4471.
There you go. Mary Ann Spanos, Director of the Office for Aging. Will you come back someday?
Always.
It hasn't been that rough?
Always. No.
Okay. I want to thank special people who make this show possible. Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt. I want to thank Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook, John Hamels, especially John, who does a wonderful job here. I want to wish you a decent, beautiful day. Get out in the sun. The sun is there. We're above freezing in most places, not Mayville, I might add. May all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I'm Reed Powers.